Folks, welcome back to another episode of Coffee, Tea, and Crime. Today's episode, we've all been shot. Las Cruces, New Mexico, is just a rock's throw north of El Paso. It's February 10th, 1990. The Las Cruces Bowling Alley. Now this bowling alley sits in a strip mall middle of town there. It's due to open at about 8:30 in the morning. Now just prior to the opening of the business, two men who are not masked enter through an open door and they head back to the office. Now on their way to the office, they round up the employee that's working in the kitchen area. Now initially they have 4 people in the office. The bowling alley's manager, Stephanie Sinek, her 12-year-old daughter, Melissa Repaz, and then Melissa's little buddy, Amy Hauser. Now the bowling alley's got a daycare center, and Melissa and Amy are kind of help watch the kids. Now it's also inside the business is Ida Hogan. Now she kind of runs the kitchen. So now you've got the 4 initial victims and the 2 suspects, and they go to the safe. I can only guess that the safe is open since the manager would probably be doing the count for the receipts from the night before. Now there's somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 that the suspects are loading up to take with them. Now the Steve Turan, he's the pen mechanic. Now he shows up at the bowling alley and he's got his 2 daughters with him. One's 2 years old, that's Valerie Turan, and then her 6-year-old sister, Paula Hogan. Now he didn't have a babysitter, that's why he brought his 2 daughters with him. He's going to leave them there in the bowling alley's daycare center while he works. Steve comes in, he doesn't find anybody, so he heads back to the office. And when he does, that's where he's met by the 2 gunmen. Now the 2 gunmen, they've got the money. They're not masked, which is always a bad sign. That means they don't care about being seen. That probably means they're going to harm the victims. And unfortunately they do. Now they shoot all 7 victims multiple times. Then they set the office on fire. Or more specifically, they set paperwork on fire on the desk there in the office. Now at 8:33, one of the victims, little Melissa, she calls 911. She tells the dispatcher that she's been shot and that there's 6 other people that's been shot and that they need help. And you listen to the 911 call, it's a very calm little girl, considering her mama's laying there. All these other people laying there and they're all shot. And she's been shot.
Emergency.
Please help me.
Oh, well, slow down.
We were all shot and hold up.
Okay. Where are you at?
1201 East Amador, Las Cruces Bowl.
Las Cruces Bowl?
Yes.
Okay, and there were shots fired?
Yes. All of us were hurt.
Huh?
All of us were hurt. I think I'm the only one conscious.
All of you were hurt? Okay, we'll get an ambulance rolling.
Please.
Okay, what's your name?
Melissa Repaz. Please hurry.
Okay, Melissa, we've got him dispatched.
It's an incredible little girl. So the police, the ambulance, everybody shows up. Now they immediately set up roadblocks for all the highways and roadways, or as many as they can cover, leading out of Las Cruces. And of course, they got the local police, the highway patrol, customs service, border patrol, even reports that the military was involved. Planes and helicopters are up. Now, the 2 suspects, one was described as 5'6", heavy set, late 40s, early 50s. Second one was described as being 5'11", and about 30 years old, with short, kinky hair. And they think the suspects left in a green vehicle, either a truck or a van of some type. They're not sure. This being 1990, the roadway cameras, security cameras aren't as prevalent as they are nowadays. Nowadays, intersection camera would probably catch them. But in any event, suspects get away. Now, 4 of the victims died there on the scene or at the hospital shortly thereafter. Now, the bowling alley manager, Stephanie Seneca, she would die 9 years later, and they said her cause of death was due to complications from her injuries. This case is still unsolved. I don't really know if the suspects will still be alive, but they sure need to be caught. Alright, you look at this case, the first thing I would think of is a broken down old robbery investigator. I would think, okay, they've been casing this place. Now, this robbery takes place on a Saturday morning, so it must have meant they had a big Friday night. So they're looking at the nights that they're real busy. How much money are they bringing in? Word of mouth from inside the business. Even an employee might inadvertently talk about or mention how much money they're making, or we had a great night, or this night's always busier than another. Because if robbery's your motive, then you want to hit it when there's some money in there. You might also want to find out how often they make bank drops. Now, if they make a bank drop every day, then there won't be as much money in there. But now, if you find out what days they make bank drops, if it's not every day, and it may not be, some businesses don't bank drop every day. You also may find out that, well, certain doors are left open. Now, generally that would involve you casing the business. They definitely knew enough to know that the business didn't have security cameras. Because if they had security cameras in that business, they wouldn't have went in there without their faces being covered. So somebody was probably doing surveillance on the business. Now, what I don't understand is you're going to do this robbery. Why in the world would you want to execute people, number one? Number two, and you're going to do kids just the same? That's a ruthless pair right there.